The Scotch opening. Today we're going to have an introduction to a fascinating E4, E5 opening, the Scotch opening. And this is from a request from one of our paying members. So this is one of the perks or benefits you get from being a member. You get to decide what will be on GM Talks channel. And today we're just gonna take a look at what is the Scotch opening. We're gonna see a great game and how to think about it. What's the strategic features of this very fascinating and very difficult opening. It's a very strange beast, and I have always found it difficult to understand. I didn't like it so much as black, so then if you can't beat them, join them. I tried to play it as white, but I didn't like that either, so it was not so easy. Sometimes some openings you just don't really belong there. It's just it's hard to tell. Anyway, let's get into it. We have a game, Gawain Jones against Postny in the Bundesliga. Gawain Jones is, of course, a strong English grandmaster, known as a little bit of a coffee house player. He's tactical, strong, and likes to put up an attack, and he's very resourceful and so on. And Postny is a good positional grandmaster who has dropped a little bit in rating. I think his normal strength is around 2600. Okay, and this is the Scotch opening. So what has happened here? White has exchanged his D pawn for black's E pawn. So far, so good. The main feature here is, of course, that white is having a pawn in the center, and black is not having a pawn in the center, so white has more space. But white has also spent some time exchanging this piece. Another feature is this knight that's here, but in general you can say that white has achieved a strategic aim. He has made black give up the center. That was in the good old days where Taras was the big guy. That was a disaster. Never give up the center. Always try to control it. And I think Steinitz also played d6 and had problems taking on d4. The thing is, so white normally white simply have a positional advantage here. He has more space. He is controlling 4 ranks, and black is controlling 3 ranks, and we are playing about this one. Okay, but it's not that simple, because black also have very easy development, and white's position is a little bit unstable at the moment. So black has many options to try and create counterplay. Also, black has no weaknesses, so how bad can it be? But he can easily get a weakness. Often black will get a double pawn on c6. So the main moves here for black are, well, we take the minor choices. Queen h4 is we will just take it. Queen h4 is a possibility, and I think this is known as good for white now, that this move and just sacrificing something here supposed to be good for white. It's a long, of course, a lot of long variations and so on, but I think it's established that this is good for white. There's also bishop b4 check, c3, bishop c6, and that looks really weird. So, but of course, with the pawn here, white is not going to play knight c3, so he's a little bit clumsy, and that's also a part of the Scotch. In order to achieve this sort of favorable pawn transformation, white has to be a little bit clumsy and have a little bit uneasy position, and often be way behind in development. Anyway, it's a very interesting opening, and I was a little bit disappointed that Nepomniachtchi, who played the Scots with very good results, didn't try it against Carlsen. That would have been fun, also to know what Carlsen would have done against the Scotch. Anyway, there's also this move is maybe the main line, at least one of the main line. Well, we take one other move. Another move that's not bad is this move, simply attacking the knight and getting ready to play something like this. This can transpose to other lines in the knight f. As I think this is not bad at all. Queen f6, and it can at least trap some players unaware of what's going on here. Black is trying to develop very fast and get counterplay as soon as possible. I think Queen f6 is interesting. Knight f6 is maybe the main line. Here, white can transpose into the Scotch 4 knights. That's a very boring opening. After bishop b4, they play a lot of fast draws, and it's not very interesting for either side. But the main line is to take here on c6, b6, and after this, play this move. It's just kicking the knight, and the main line goes like this. d5, and here white can choose between, at the moment, h4 is popular. There's also knight d2, and then of course there's c4, and here black has the option between putting the knight here or playing bishop here, pinning the queen. It's very weird position. We will have another video with this line later. It's very weird position. It's very difficult to understand. It's what's going on. Black's structure with these pawns here is sometimes good, but mostly it's just bad, and it's really weird. This was resurrected by Kasparov, who played it against Karpov with good success in a World Championship match, and that sort of marked the return of the Scotch. And sometimes black can get a really bad structure, and sometimes black will just get a lot of initiative. So it's very difficult to say what's going to happen in these positions. I think at the moment, black is supposed to be fine in this position. I think so. Anyway, I think bishop c5 is a very natural move. Simply hitting the knight 2 times, developing a bishop, hitting this square that did get a little bit weak by white's d4. White here has well, he has 4 options. I think they stopped playing this move, knight f5. It's not impossible, but it's just not that good. So the main moves here are take, and here I think the main move is this move, and something like this is at the moment. Or you can also take with d-pawn, actually. And also very strange position, a special kind of thing. In general, I really don't like this double pawn as black. It's just, unlike in the Caro-Kann, this is a bad double pawn. It's not doing anything good, and you isolated your a pawn and so on. And even though you were hitting towards the center and so on, you can also take with this pawn and then try and get some counterplay here. And I did win a game with black in this line, but I'm not really comfortable in this position anyway. But this is interesting. I think black is more or less okay, but it's very difficult to play. And if you like to play against double pawns, this makes sense. By the way, black can also give white a double pawn here, and will for instance, let's say after this move, for instance. But this double pawn is much better than this, and it's strange to explain. But it's mostly due to the fact that the black squared will be a little bit weak on the king side, and this pawn is really extra. Well, this is not where it's going to go. It's not going to go anywhere. So this structure is probably better for white. Also, white will play this move, which you can sense that this e-pawn double pawn is nice. So anyway, that's interesting. That's one line. There's also this move. Makes a lot of sense. Lending support, defending f2, and threatening to win something with knight takes c6. Black probably has to play this move, which is supposed to be best. Again, attacking the knight. And white has to go c3, which is a little bit clumsy, and this position is very it's very weird. I think they play like this, and it's hard to say what's going on. I think black should be fine here. But Kasparov likes this as a white and had some decent results. It's very strange positions, so it's very difficult to really get a hold on what's going on, and that's also what white is hoping for in the Scotch. It's that you take people into a really strange forest and they just don't know how to orient themselves. Unlike in if they get to their normal Spanish lines where they know where to put the pieces, in the Scottish it's not so easy where to put the pieces. It's not clear where they belong, and that makes it probably a good practical weapon. And I think in general white is scoring pretty well in the Scotch. I'm surprised it's not more popular. It is a little bit annoying for black. But there's also this move, which is what Gawain Jones played, and which was the old main line. And after black, this is probably best, keeping the bishop on a good diagonal. And in general, black has easy development, and the knight can go here or here, and the bishop can go out. But if white keeps this pawn here, and he will keep his space advantage, and that will make it much easier for him to start an attack. And we will actually see this in the game where Gawain Jones just plays a model game for white in this line. There's also if the knight goes here, well, basic white's plan is also to do something like this, exchange this one and go castle queen side, and then just lounge the pawns on the king side. That's kind of nice if you get to do that. But also if the knight goes here, sometimes this pin can be very annoying because the bishop is here, and a knight here and a double pawn on f6 is gonna hurt a lot. Knight here makes sense, of course. This square is at the moment clearly under white's control, which is unpleasant for black. Knight e2, e7. I think the main line is this move, and trying to play as actively as possible. It will be a weird position. Black is hoping to push d5 at some point and nullifying white's space advantage, and actually sometimes using his lead in development to grab the initiative. Knight here is a little bit passive. The thing is, it avoids all sorts of pins from the bishop here, and it does also prepare to counterplay with this, but it doesn't threaten anything and doesn't put pressure on white's center. Gawain comes with this move, and that's one way to play. I think, I don't know if the bishop is a little bit weird. Usually you would just actually go here, but of course not when you get a double pawn. So you have to move the queen first and then the bishop here, and that would probably save a tempo, but then maybe black can play something fast like this. Here he goes d6, and white goes queen d2, and what white will almost always do in this line is castle queenside and use the rook here and get ready to just push these guys forward and attack black's king. That is, can easily come under serious pressure. It's not so easy to generate counterplay, because even though these knights looks like something you can kick, white's position is pretty solid. a5 makes sense. Black is aware that white is ready to castle queenside, and he would like to play this move and maybe this move and do a nasty pin here or something like that. Bishop b5, developing castle and castle queenside. And here, and this position is I don't know, it's very unclear, but the way the game goes here black has to find something else from what he did in the game, because what he did in the game definitely did not work out. He played this move and here and here, and after this white is already really seriously ahead in development and is ready to play this move. And it looks like a bad move because it gives up this square, but this doesn't matter. It is more because this knight is out of the game. The knight will not generate anything there. It's actually more or less dominated by the bad bishop. So white will just keep on pushing everything here and start a nasty attack, and these knights will join somehow. So a4, pushing to get some counterplay. Knight e5, and here we see the benefits of having the rook against the queen and hitting the knight here, the bishop here on e6, and black decides to and also it's attacking here. I'm not sure we're gonna take that one anyway, and he plays a3 and just take it here, which is just nice, because black is now in serious trouble on the white squares, and we can just see it that it's not gonna go. It's not gonna turn out well if you try to defend this pawn. Something like this is really not good. Also, by the way, notice this move, very important. This pawn is actually helping white defend his queenside better. There's no dark squares coming or anything. So this is a very smart, clever move. After this, white gets his pawn back, and even though it looks like white's kingside position or on the queen side here is in trouble, he is much better. And this bishop here on this diagonal is simply a monster. And of course, white has many. He's just gonna push the pawns. I don't know. I don't think black can defend here. He's of course trying. Rook a5, h4. The pawns are coming. Black is also coming. e4, but there is no attack. It's just I don't see the attack anywhere. It will take a long time to threaten something on a2, and maybe it's not even that dangerous. Queen here, trying to stop the tide, maybe hoping to get something in like this. I don't know. It doesn't look very comfy. I'm not sure I really understand this move. Out of this move, it seems there was no real point of this move anyway, and white just keeps pushing, and and I wouldn't like to be black here. And h6, I don't know. It's not nice to allow h6, because there's going to be a really terrible check someday in this diagonal. But it's not nice to allow this move either. So I don't know what to do here. Yeah. And now finally black is ready to get rid of this one, but it's too late. There's no attack, there's nothing, and check is a good move. And here we can see that white he's of course a very good attacker, Gawain. So if he takes here, take here, then white wins very easily with this move, and made in 2 more moves with queen a3 and queen h7. Nice, isn't it? So after this, he just went here, and white wants the exchange and gave a little check, keeping the king boxed in. It doesn't matter really, but why not? And here, so he did get this square for the queen in next move. If there was any kind of, if for instance this, I think you just do this, and that's probably the easiest way to follow by this to win this game. So after this move, black resigned. A total triumph for the Scotch opening. It was was a little bit hard to see a solid, good grandmaster like Postny just getting like this, which shows that that this opening is a serious opening, the Scotch opening, and it's not so easy to play against it. So I don't know if I can recommend it. It's not for everybody for sure, but some players will definitely have good results with this. This was GM Talks. Thank you for watching.